A friend of mine approached me a while ago inquiring how Anki works. I told them to go figure it out on their own, but unfortunately, a couple days later, this video of them emerged trying to figure out Anki on their own. As you can see, it's not a pretty sight to learn Anki on your own, and while it can certainly be done, it always gets a bit easier if you have someone to at least guide you along the basics, and then you can figure out the details on your own. How is this video different from the countless others floating on the internet? Number one, it's all in one place instead of distributed in 100 parts. Number two, it's concise, as brief as such a video can be. Number three is that it is accompanied by a detailed blog post which goes into the details of everything that we talk about here. So if you want to find more details regarding anything here, you can certainly read the blog post as well. What will this video cover? Number one, installing Anki as well as the mobile apps that come along with it. Number two is which decks to use. Number three is if it's worth bothering to make your own cards or not. Number four is which add-ons are the most useful, at least in my personal opinion. Number five is the workflow, like how do you maintain studying along with doing Anki. And number six is if you do get stuck along the way on this Anki journey, which resources and websites will be there to help you out. And with that, let's move on to the first point, which is installing Anki. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is go onto this website ankiweb.net, and again all these links will be in the description as well. But Anki Web is basically the synchronization thing which allows you to have your desktop app as well as the mobile app on the same page. You can just go to the sign up page and then just fill out some emails, blah blah blah, and then again you will have an account available, and then you can utilize it to synchronize your devices. Again, there will be this licensing agreement, and then you just continue along with it. All right, so basically this is the screen you'll be seeing if you have successfully confirmed your email address. And again, what this basically shows is that you do not have any decks or cards in your online storage at the moment. After you have done that, what you can do is go on to this website apps.ankiweb.net and go on to this download link. As a rule of thumb, do go for the latest version. Unless the latest version doesn't work, then you can install the previous versions as well. Again, installing Anki won't be that tough of a challenge, and after you have done the simple installation process, let's talk about the mobile apps. So basically, the Android and iOS apps are developed by different people. The Anki Droid thing, the Android application is developed by a separate set of developers that do it for free. So the app is free. So if you are using Android, you are in for luck. You can utilize the app free of cost. This is the app that we'll be using. Whereas for the iOS, this app is like developed by the official developer, and it charges like $25. The only money that he's been making from Anki overall. So if you want to support Anki, you can definitely buy the Android iOS app, or you can go without it, just use the desktop version, and that should do most of the stuff just as well. You just won't have it portably along with you on your mobile. Another popular question is which decks to use. Anking by far is the most comprehensive deck that is available right now, either in clinical sciences or basic sciences. And the reason for that is that Anking in its essence is made up of decks that were popular in recent years, and by just properly organizing them and sorting them in a better manner, they created Anking. And there's a team that heads the project, whereas there's a lot of people that contribute to Anking on their own time. So again, there's version 8 right now. There is an upcoming version 9 in a few days, and it will just keep on upgrading. So I will post the link to the recent version in the description down below. Should you make cards on your own? It depends. Do you want to remember every little information that is fed to you in the slides and everything? Yeah, sure, go for it. You can certainly spend a lot of time by creating proper cards regarding every information that's fed to you in classes, and at the end of the day, if you do spend enough time and effort, you will memorize everything. However, is it worth the trade-off? It was not for me, and I don't know for you, but the reason I use pre-made decks such as the Anking deck is because step 1 is one of the best medical exams that's available internationally, and the resources for that are top notch as well. So if you are preparing, if you use the step 1 resources, regardless of if you're actually giving the step 1 or not, you will become a good doctor. So that's the reason why I use the Anking deck as my primary deck, and on and off I do use some secondary decks as well. But creating cards on your own, that at least for me, is not worth the time that goes into it. Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about actually doing Anki. If you install it properly, if you open up Anki, either through your start menu or somewhere else, you will come up upon this screen. Again, there will be a bunch of profiles. I'll use this new one so that you have a good idea of how a new profile is. Again, you won't be seeing this background because this is something that comes with an add-on thing. Yeah, apart from that, there should be a black screen, and this is what should be appearing on your screen. So the first thing that you need to do is import decks, again for the sake of quickness, because importing the Anking deck will take a lot of time. I'll just import a sample deck that's a bit smaller, but I'll be able to basically demonstrate all of the stuff that's necessary to how to manage your workflow as well as the add-ons. All right, so again, you could either double click on the deck that you have downloaded, the Anking deck, and it should be automatically be opened up by Anki, or you could manually point it out to the deck. It should be here probably. Yeah, so for the sake of lightness, I'll just open up the dope 2 clinical medicine so that it's loaded up quickly. And the Anking deck, it should take up depending on your processing power, at least a few minutes, if not up till an hour, to properly import the deck. So you should be mentally prepared. Okay, this is the time that's required for the import. All right, so the deck's imported now, and hopefully it should show up something like this. Again, this is the deck. If you have multiple decks will show up here, and these are the new cards, these are the due cards, which you will be revising down the line. The number of them will increase if you do progress to higher numbers. And yeah, again, what it basically shows is that you have 20 new cards that you need to do for the day. But again, naturally you might want to do more than that. 20 is not such a big number, so for that you just need to go to options. Again, if you do go here to options, you'll come upon this strange screen. The first thing I'll suggest is add a new thing. You could name it Anking, because that's the settings I'll be using. Again, you need to actually manually change all of them, and for that, this is the post that goes into the details of the recommended settings by the Anking, and why you should use them. Again, these are the exact settings. You just need to copy paste them per se, or manually type them out here. What are the 3 symbols down there? Again, is for a card that you do not remember at all. Good is for something that you can remember soon enough. Easy is you knew it as soon as the question came up. All right, so what's the workflow, how to actually start doing Anki? The method recommended by most people is that you should first study the content. Again, that could be either through reading books or watching videos. And then what you can do next is, again, Anki is the tool to memorize this stuff, not to understand that in the first place. So again, if you also download the hierarchical tags add-on, you will be able to see all the tags enlisted in such a format, which makes it a bit easier to see stuff. So the first thing that you need to do, again, the number of cards with Anking deck will be a lot larger as compared to the dope one. But the first thing that you need to do is go to this whole collection thing, and then select all of them by Control A, and then you could either press Control J, which also suspends them, or you could alternatively manually go here and toggle suspend. After you have suspended all of these cards, what you can do next is, as soon as you get done with, let's say you got done with all of pediatrics, you studied all of it, and you understand most of the content, what you can do is you can now unsuspend it, and then you can do the specific set of cards that you have understood through other resources previously. With the Anking deck, you'll get a lot more tags. Again, they will be sorted by the modules, as well as the resources such as BNB, as well as the different topics within BNB. Moreover, pathoma and everything, that's properly subdivided. So you could either unsuspend it through the specific resources, or you could generally go through the module and the subject, and then unsuspend all of the cards within it manually. So that's general workflow. Now let's talk about add-ons. Add-ons are the same across all profiles, so they'll be the same on my main ones, but to be honest, I don't use a lot of them regularly. So you can pretty much ignore this list. And instead of that, what I'd suggest is, there's this list on the Medical School Anki subreddits wiki, which enlists add-ons which I think are pretty nice and useful. Again, these are the cherry on top of the cake. These won't constitute the learning part, or but they just help make your experience more magical per se. They help you, because you'll be seeing Anki every day. Using all these add-ons just makes it a bit more prettier and bearable. So the method of downloading any Anki add-on per se is by just searching up the name of the add-on along with Anki on Google, and then the first link that pops up usually should be the thing. Otherwise, you could obviously check out the links below, but you'll come upon. But then you'll come up upon this page which has some details regarding the add-on, and in the end there will be this number that you can that you can copy paste on your Anki in this manner. And then when you click on install add-on, then it should automatically download and install it. But since I already have it installed, so probably doing this would probably give me an error. So yeah, that's about using add-ons. Again, you can experiment with new add-ons, even those like relatively new, and it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Feel free to experiment with add-ons as much as you want to, but again, these aren't the backbone of the learning process, but they just help make your experience better overall. All right, after we are done with the add-ons, let's talk about the resources that you can use. Again, the first one is the medical school subreddit. Again, you can use the Reddit account, sign up, and then log into, comment, upvote, and just participate in the community. Again, this is a pretty good subreddit, which again, it does have a lot of memes, but apart from that, there's a lot of serious topics as well, and you can search up for any specific question you might have regarding Medschool or Anki, and there's a chance that someone already has asked for it, and you can find you can come upon the answers that people gave to them, unless of course your question is really unique, in which case you can actually make a new post and ask that question in the community. The second subreddit is Medical School Anki. There's this beautiful sidebar which has pretty much all the resources, decks, and things you might need while doing Anki. And again, if you ever feel lost, you ever have this thought, there might be a better deck for this specific subject, then you could definitely see this sidebar. Moreover, you could also just search up for that specific subject, and some deck should probably pop up. Then if you click on this wiki thing, you'll come upon this page, which again, it is a pretty detailed wiki regarding how Anki works, what are the main medical decks, and it even covers like decks in other languages, as well as generally asked questions, workflow in detail, how much time it takes to cover specific decks, and so on and so forth. After that, there's this Anki subreddit, which basically is a more of a general Anki subreddit. But if you do have any technical questions or something regarding regarding the software or if it breaks on some device, you can definitely utilize this subreddit as well. After that, there's this step 1 subreddit. The name makes it quite self-evident what it's all about. But if you do have any questions pertaining to the decks or the step 1 content in general, this is a great community to hang around. Finally, there's this forums.ankiweb.net, which was previously hosted on Tender app, and I think the website might be down right now, but it basically can deal with any technical question that you have regarding the Anki desktop app or the Android app. So yeah, I think that's about it regarding the whole tutorial. If you do have any other questions or anything that you want me to talk in detail about, you can definitely mention it in the comments.